What up, this is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of Disney Pixar's Toy Story 4! Hey, before you watch this review, please subscribe to my channel and press that like button and ring that bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you would like to help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this. Oh man, this movie is every bit as wonderful and heartwarming and profound as its predecessors. I came into the screening thinking, we did not need a fourth installment. The trilogy was already perfect. Why risk that with a fourth movie that may or may not do well? I mean, do you remember how awesome Indiana Jones trilogy was? And then the Kingdom of Crystal Skull came along and messed that whole thing up. But man, Pixar proves me wrong once again, and once again proves themselves that they are still the standard bearer when it comes to putting the story and the characters front and center, first and foremost. Directed by Josh Cooley, for years Woody has always known his purpose, which was to take care of his kid, whether it's Andy or Bonnie. But now, Woody finds himself unplayed with, until one day when Bonnie creates her own project, a spork-turned-toy who declares himself trash and not toy. Just like in the first installment when Woody convinced Buzz how awesome it was to be a toy, Woody wants to show Forky why he needs to embrace being a toy. But when Bonnie takes the whole gang on a family's road trip, Woody reunites with his long-lost friend Bo Peep, who turns out has been without a kid and has been on her own all these years. Bo Peep agrees to help Woody rescue Forky from the clutches of a new doll named Gabby, who wants to get Woody's voice box. If you look at the story credits for this movie, there are at least 7 or 8 people involved. Now, I don't know which ones among them are exactly the most responsible for this masterpiece. But I tell you, usually when a lot of people are involved on a story like that, it usually gets me worried, wondering maybe they could not get this whole thing completely figured out. But that's not the case here. I assure you that just like its predecessors, Toy Story 4 doesn't deviate from the factors and the elements that make the fans truly love this franchise. Part of it is that it's about moving on. The last time it was moving on from Andy to a new kid, Bonnie, and this time it happens to a character that's near and dear to you. And I won't spoil it for you here, but the point is, just when you thought there could not be any more angle or perspective left to explore, just when you thought that everything about Toy Story has been told, Pixar basically says, no, there is always room for the characters to grow. You have probably heard from some of the early reactions to this movie that some of the new characters are scene stealers. Well, they were right to say that. The always reliable team of Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael as Bunny and Ducky respectively are the stuff of comedic gold. The same goes for the Canadian stuntman Duke Kaboom, voiced by Keanu Reeves, who even channels a bit of his Bill and Ted's Ted persona, if you're quick enough to catch it. And Forky keeps fleeing to the nearest trash can will crack you up, in addition to his already ridiculously funny looking face. And Tony Hale voices that character in the similar manic but gullible fashion as Buster Bluth. And if previous Toy Story movies gave you clear villains, with some shades to them, but they were still villains who end up getting punished for being mean to Woody's gang, well, in this one, it's not that simple. It's more complicated than that. This new character, Gabby, voiced by Christina Hendricks, is not necessarily bitter, resentful, vindictive, or vengeful. I think the writers did an impeccable job with this character specifically, because the arc for Gabby provides a great example for the most effective way to teach kids about empathy and putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and understanding where they're coming from. The animation looks so much more pristine this time around. Over the years, our eyes may have gotten used to the designs for these characters and how they look on the screen. Toy Story 4 pushes that edge even further, especially with Bo Peep's porcelain face that reflects the light. This time around, it feels as if you can notice more of the details about the surrounding or the environment and the characters that you may have overlooked in the previous installments. This is CG animation on a whole other level of excellence. They just get better and better with each passing film. The center focus of the story, at the heart of it, is this differing opinion between Woody, who still thinks that being with Kid is the greatest thing ever, and Bo Peep, who believes that there's nothing wrong with being a lost toy. But while tackling that, the writers never neglect the other cogs in the machine. They're all interconnected. Some might play smaller roles this time around, like Buzz Lightyear, but even he has his own little journey that may not be as significant as Woody and Bo Peep, who take the front seat, but it's still a journey that speaks about Buzz, that's also entering his own next chapter and coming to his own purpose. And lastly, leave it to Pixar to always manage to make me cry watching their movies. So prepare some Kleenex because I promise you there will be waterworks. But trust me, these are good, healthy, cathartic tears. This is a film that goes straight for the heart. It's another great addition to an already flawless franchise, and you will come out of it wanting more.